As one of only a handful of countries in the world able to lead a deployment of this scale, the Royal Navy is once again demonstrating its formidable capability while protecting British values and sending a powerful message of deterrence to any adversary. Royal Navy to deploy biggest maritime force of British combat jets since Falklands War. The Royal Navy is preparing to deploy the largest maritime force of British combat jets since the Falklands War. The Royal Navy flagship will join a strike group of warships, supply vessels, and a Royal Navy attack submarine. Final preparations are underway for a multinational deployment, led by the Royal Navy flagship HMS Prince of Wales, reaffirming the UK's commitment to the security of the Mediterranean and Indo-Pacific. The Ministry of Defence (MOD) has confirmed that Royal Navy flagship HMS Prince of Wales will sail from Portsmouth in the next 2 weeks to join a strike group of warships, supply vessels, and a Royal Navy attack submarine. The MOD said the giant 70,000-ton carrier would embark up to 24 fifth-generation F-35B jets for the British-led mission to the Mediterranean and Indo-Pacific. The 2 squadrons of stealth combat jets will mark the biggest maritime deployment of British military jets since the conflict in the South Atlantic more than 4 decades ago. The carrier will also embark up to a dozen Merlin, Wildcat, and Chinook helicopters, as well as a squadron of drones. The deployment of UAV unmanned aerial vehicles marks a first for the UK military, with the Prince of Wales carrying 9 octocopters. The drones will ferry mail, engineering components, and other smaller items between the various ships in the strike group. Final preparations are underway for the multinational deployment, which will see HMS Prince of Wales meet up with other vessels in the strike group off Cornwall, before heading first to the Mediterranean and later to the Indian Ocean. Around 2,500 personnel from the Royal Navy and 592 from the Royal Air Force will be involved in the 8-month deployment, named Operation High Mast. The strike group will conduct exercises and port visits with nations, including the US, India, Singapore, and Malaysia. They will be joined by 900 personnel from the British Army for exercises during the deployment. The Indo-Pacific is seen as a critical region for UK trade, worth more than £286 billion last year alone. HMS Prince of Wales to leave Portsmouth on April 22 to lead carrier strike group deployment. The Royal Navy is once again demonstrating its formidable capability while protecting British values and sending a powerful message of deterrence to any adversary. The MOD officially confirmed today that the long-planned deployment to the Indo-Pacific will begin in 2 weeks with the departure of the flagship. The carrier will spearhead Operation High Mast, involving around 4,000 UK personnel. 2,500 Royal Navy sailors and Marines, together with 592 Royal Air Force personnel, will be joined by around 900 soldiers from the Army for various exercises. The group will meet up off the coast of Cornwall and embark aircraft before departing for the Mediterranean to participate in the large-scale NATO maritime vigilance exercise Neptune Strike 2025, which is already underway in the Mediterranean. In terms of naval assets, the group will comprise of the carrier, Type 45 destroyer HMS Dauntless, Type 23 frigate HMS Richmond, and Astute-class submarine and RFA Tidespring. It has been confirmed that the Candian frigate, HMCS Ville de Quebec, and the Spanish frigate, ESPS Méndez Núñez, will also join for most of the deployment. It does not appear a US warship will be attached to the group, at least for the majority of the deployment, although this may be subject to change, given the current unpredictability of US foreign policy. The Núñez and Amundsen have versions of Aegis and can complement HMS Dauntless in the air defense role, but without a US destroyer, anti-ballistic missile capability is limited. The MOD says, up to 24 F-35B will be embarked on the carrier. The group will pass through the Suez Canal and Red Sea before continuing east through the Indian Ocean for a series of multinational exercises with the US, India, Singapore, and Malaysia. There has been no official comment about whether the group will participate in ongoing US-led operations against the Houthis in Yemen. In July, the group will join 19 partner nations for Exercise Talisman Sabre off Australia. Subsequent visits to Japan and India are also planned. As one of only a handful of countries in the world able to lead a deployment of this scale, the Royal Navy is once again demonstrating its formidable capability while protecting British values and sending a powerful message of deterrence to any adversary. Norway will provide a warship and a logistics support vessel for the entire duration of the deployment. Canada and Spain will also deploy frigates to support the strike group. The carrier group will initially be placed under NATO command as it joins a major exercise to test the alliance's ability to use high-end maritime strike capabilities, including multiple aircraft carrier and amphibious strike groups. The carrier group will transit through the Indian Ocean, conducting exercises and port visits, before joining 19 other nations for another major exercise near Australia. The British-led strike group will also train alongside the Japan's defense forces and conduct a port visit to India. Thousands of family members of those deploying on the carrier strike group mission are expected to gather in Portsmouth to wave off Britain's flagship as she leaves her home port on April 22. The UK's Defence Secretary John Healey said, "I want to thank the thousands of our armed forces personnel involved in the delivery of this immensely complex operation, demonstrating the UK's world-leading capability to deploy a major military force around the world. This is a unique opportunity for the UK to operate in close coordination with our partners and allies in a deployment that not only shows our commitment to security and stability, but also provides an opportunity to bolster our own economy and boost British trade and exports." The Indo-Pacific is a critical region for UK trade, with imports and exports in the region worth billions of pounds for the UK economy, and the deployment will provide a chance for UK companies to take part in trade events during port visits. Trade between the UK and Indo-Pacific accounted for 17% of total trade between the UK and all trading partners in the 12 months to September 2024, with the total amount traded in goods and services between the UK and Indo-Pacific standing at £286 billion in the same period. Final preparations are underway for the multinational deployment, which will see HMS Prince of Wales meet up with other vessels in the strike group off Cornwall, before heading first to the Mediterranean and later to the Indian Ocean. The group will pass through the Suez Canal and Red Sea before continuing east through the Indian Ocean for a series of multinational exercises with the US, India, Singapore and Malaysia.